you have a special jingle for that? The dialect corner.
Phil, do you have a dialect flag?
I don't know. I will have to. I'll have to produce one for future episodes.
Pretend to have one at least.
Yeah.
Or you can start making like bingo cards and people can play along at home.
You know that's a bloody brilliant idea. That
It was like, good
good
old days,
mistakes.
check.
Yeah.
Like fire, check. Illegal things from my childhood, check.
Death chat, check.
yeah.
I feel like someone outside the podcast should make those bingo cards and then have, because I mean you need a new bingo card for every episode, or is this?
Make an app so you can refill the categories and it can shuffle every time you start the web page.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you can fill in stuff that, okay, this has happened recently. They might talk about. Yeah, sounds like a lot of work. All of this.
All of
That's
this
why you have
sounds
fans,
like
so they can do the work for you.
Yeah, we'll see if we have fans.
We will ask one of the 4 people that listen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them might be quite good at drawing. Yeah. Someone else might know someone with a photocopier.
I mean, are you talking about us 4 now?
Maybe.
Yeah, but
Damn it.
and that's a problem though. We are also lazy.
Very
At
much.
least I am. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How does lazy go with ADHD? Or am I sort of uncorking existential questions now?
It's a good question. I have also only what's the word, diagnosed myself. So I don't have any official letters. So, but yeah, that's a good question.
How many friend diagnoses do you need before you get the official letter, sort of de facto?
I mean, yeah.
Well, this is an evening of hard truths, isn't it?
And then the question is, what is the benefit? I am now an adult, so I'm through school. I basically, if you exclude work, I just do things that I like. So, what would it help if I now just went and, hi, can I get an official paper saying that I have these letters? Would it do me any good? No.
Maybe not the letter, unless you have a table that's like exactly that thickness out of balance. But
Yeah.
I mean, depending on severity of things, like getting a diagnosis might get you some medicine that helps you, but it doesn't sound like you actually are struggling with it. You're more working with it.
You know, I don't remember her name. She's famous for doing interviews with like a deadpan face. She's never breaking, but she's asking difficult questions to people, and that just makes it funny. And I saw her doing an interview with another actor, and they talked about she had depression, so she was on some medication. And I remember the way she described it was the same that a friend of mine who got diagnosed with ADHD early on and got on medication, and he said it takes the highs off, but it also takes the lows off. But I just became in a state that nothing was fun anymore, but it wasn't boring either. But you're in a limbo state, and he just came to that point that I am willing to live with the lows. I have to find some other ways of coping with that because I need the highs as well.
Mm.
And when I saw that interview, that got me thinking, if I have something with some letters and then they find some medication that helps with it, I wouldn't be all over the place. I have all these crazy ideas that I need to do. And then of course the danger
Yes.
hanging, if I take the medication, would I then just be content with having an office job? This is fine, and that scares me.
The only pushback I might give there is you can stop taking the medication and just go back to quote unquote normal.
Yeah.
So, and also I think there's quite a lot of different types of medication as well. So
Yeah,
You
probably.
can turn into a chemist and have like your own evil concoction of things.
Yeah, or as my friend pointed out, he specified he did not do this, but the medications that he got, that could probably support him, because on the black market people are paying good money for that medicine. So yeah, but of course,
There's that.
being a drug kingpin, I'm not sure if Heisenberg is my path in life.
It seems more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, I feel the getting a official diagnosis is, if you're struggling, that's great, because
Yeah.
if you need help, I mean, a lot of people find a good place in life even without help from the medical system. But if you are in some way struggling, that could really be benefiting to get some help with it in one way or another.
And I also talked to a lot of people that sort of they needed to get the diagnosis to fully understand that they were different and not broken,
Yeah.
instead of having all of the expectation from the rest of society on them and looking at like how the fuck are like all the other people able to do all of these things and I'm not, what's wrong with me? And then knowing that there's nothing wrong, I'm just different in this way.
Yeah.
And also have a lot of people having sort of that burden lifted off them of knowing that, oh, there's a reason for this, I am not broken.
Yeah, I think that helps in many ways. And also, I saw someone saying that, of course, before 1990 or whatever, you could not have ADHD because nobody has invented it yet. But of course, people have been struggling with it in the past as well. And I remember someone said, like, in like a small community where I come from, it's like, yeah, that's just John. He's always been like that, and because
It's
it's
a
a
bit
small.
peculiar.
Yeah, and but of course people just know that, all right, that is him and he's that, and of course probably challenges with bullying and so on in school, but at some point you find your place in the community and you made it work, and it might be harder in a big city setting where you don't know your neighbors or where there's no
Yeah.
community around you. Then it's more of a struggle, but yeah, knowing what it is helps usually in any illness. I think just knowing what it is that makes it so.
I like to call it, which I think is a pretty weird reference, but I like to call it the Rumpelstiltskin effect, where
Okay.
like as soon because the fairy tale of
Yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin is like you need to know his name because when you say his name you have control over him, and
Yes.
there's a lot of those kind of instances I think in real life as well. Like as soon as you can define it and say what it is, it loses a lot of power over you because then you know what it is, you have learned about it,
Yeah.
sort of
You're
disarmed
less
it.
scared of what you know
Yeah,
than what you don't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
That's
That's
that's a good way of saying it.
I mean,
Yeah, and having a genuine diagnosis may also help the police with their inquiries when it comes to motive. So yeah, that's something else.
He was
Yeah.
off his meds.
But I mean, it's also good to know that, have a grasp of what kind of, I mean, the standard deviations of being human is, so that you can have reasonable expectations of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Because I might think of my colleagues at work that they are sometimes slow and stupid. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. But no, they just think differently than me. So they aren't stupid. They are smarter than me in some ways. But
They process information in different ways and at different rates,
yes, that
or they're slow and stupid.
might be both. Who knows?
One of them.
But that is also, and I think that's a problem that we have today, is that the society and then the school system is set up to, well, the school system isn't as old as people like to think. So the school system that we have today kind of came hand in hand with the Industrial Revolution, and then we had the war, And then, of course, also aided by then women having to go into the workforce, and then you have to have somewhere to put the kids. So that's why the school days are so long, because the
Mm.
kids needs to be somewhere. And you make a curriculum that make them good factory workers. And that is the same today. You can have arts and crafts, but a lot of the people get shuffled into something that will give you a profession within, call it office work. That's the majority of it, some academia kind of work. And then if you don't fit into that, you struggle finding your place. I think that was easier before, going back to the small town. If you had ADHD, or you had some deviation from the norm, you could still make it work, because you had the opportunity. Well, I do this well, so this is what I do, this is my role. But it's harder today if your outsider skill doesn't have a niche in the defined boxes of professions. You struggle finding your place in society.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how it is in the higher educations, but at least my kids probably have somewhere on some kind of a spectrum ish, because they have some troubles, but they're hanging in there, so to say. But the school is really great with helping them with that, because they get that special attention that they need to actually function pretty decently in the school environment. Because I mean, it feels like in parts they have inherited my qualities but amplified, so they're really bad with lots of sound and big crowds and that sort of thing.
right.
But school is, I feel it, a lot better with handling that kind of thing than way back in time when I went, at least. So that feels
Yeah.
good. But who knows what will happen when they get further along in their education? Maybe that all stops, or just they have really good teachers, perhaps. I don't know.
Might also just be that as they grow up, they learn the skills they need to cope.
Yeah,
And
hopefully.
as they get more freedom, they hopefully also are able to sort of fill that space with good skills
Yeah.
and good routines to actually help manage everything.
Yeah, I mean, finding the routines that works for you is kind of key
Yeah.
of hacking life, I feel.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
This got very serious.
This
all of a
went
sudden.
all very deep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
Sorry.
I just remembered the funny anecdote that I forgot earlier on, but luckily someone just jumped into the conversation and made it make sense, and now I just remembered. But now it doesn't make any sense to bring it up. So it's like, all right, that's
You're such a tease.
yeah. All right, I'll do
Patreon
it. I'll
special.
do it.
Yeah, go on. Go on.
I saw it was an interview with a guy, and he had a severe form of OCD, the kind where he needs to count everything. So he was on that end of that spectrum, where he sees everything in numbers, and all the numbers are colors, and it's really fascinating, because these, if you're far enough on the spectrum, you really struggle in society. But he was living in a small family with several children, and they were really poor, so everybody had to chip in to make it work. So he was also able to talk about his aspect of it from an outsider perspective in a way that not many with his diagnosis can. And it was so interesting. I think it was an entire 60 minutes episode. The show was 60 minutes, where they interviewed him, and he talked that, well, I have this diagnosis, but there was no room for me to act on it. So I just had to function in society. But of course, his mother could send him to the store to get some bread, and he could not look down if there was cobblestones he just
Hmm.
so sometimes his mother sent him out and like, all right, you should be back by now. So all right, let's go to the store, and she could find him counting cobblestones. So he know that I can't look down because then I have to count it, and then I have to do that until I'm done. And he could never go to the beach because he would be hung up on how many grains of sand is it on a beach, and then he would just spend days there, and then they had to drag him off. So he just, all right, but then I don't go to the beach. And
Hmm.
it was fun seeing how he's made coping mechanism to work in that family setting that actually made him work better in society than many other people. So maybe that's something you can learn. It's just like you have to realize what it is you have, and you just have to shut the world out and just make it work for you. But it was a really interesting interview, though.
Did he try being a shepherd? Because I would be afraid he will just fall asleep on the job all the time.
Yeah.
Or never lose a sheep ever.
There was also that. I mean, there's 50-50 chance in my book.
Yeah.
Would counting sheep, did that come from the shepherds community, or did it never work there? Because yeah, if you fell asleep counting sheep, you never got to be a shepherd. That was year one of shepherding.
Building up
Count these
sheep
10
account
sheep.
community.
All right, you who fell asleep, you're out. This was a passing test.
How far did you need to be able to count then? Like to 100?
I'm not sure.
So they have like incremental rounds. Like, okay, who survived 10? Oh, you're snoring. Out. 20. Yeah, we lost 2 more.
But I mean, that is also a way to thin out people who aren't suited to be shepherds, because if you have a flock of, say, 50 sheep and you start counting to 100, then you can't tell the sheep apart. And you really shouldn't be doing that job. Because, I mean, you may be counting the same 5 sheep over and over again.
No,
and you
no,
don't have a clue of how many you have.
That's because you need to have them jump over that fence, and then you count them, right? So then you know that those on that side, they have been counted. But
So suddenly you need to learn the sheep like equestrian dressage or something.
yeah,
You need to number and color code the sheep.
that's I realize that's a fun way of pissing people off.
Painting sheep.
That too maybe, but of course, coming from a rural area, there's a lot of farmers, and they have a lot of feelings for farming. So if you have a friend who's a farmer and you want to piss him off a bit, then yeah, I remember every year. Of course, you let all the sheep onto the mountains because that's a nice way they can then grass for free. You don't have to pay for the grass, and then in the autumn you go into the mountains and you gather them up and you bring them back. You're basically a shepherd's job. And then they're always complaining because yeah, they lose animals to poachers, and of course wild animal, and some of them fall off cliffs and dies in natural death and so on, and then they get compensated by the state, but still they're angry about it. And I like, yeah, but come on, you're letting them into the mountains for half a year without shepherding them, and then you expect all of them to come back. It's like having teenage daughters and sending them out on a Saturday and not expecting a pregnancy every now and then. And they are fuming before you're finishing that sentence. But it is like, and then of course, before they start to come back at you, it's like, yeah, because they know this in India. I mean, they send their animals out on the fields, but they have shepherds. So if you cared about your animals, you should join them and be. Oh, you can just see them; they're getting red and angry. But there's something to that, and I remember back in school, it was like, yeah, what does your name mean? And I figured out my name means shepherd at some point. And if that is true or not, I don't know. But that sounds more and more like an occupation I would like. If someone like, okay, I can pay you a salary, and what's my task? Yeah, you should just walk amongst these animals in the mountains for several months, and then come back to civilization, and then yeah, return and do the same thing. It sounds brilliant. So it's kind of sad though that the farming industry and the money in farming is on a down spiraling slope. I mean, there are no budget for shepherds anymore, but that would be a really nice job, I think.
There are some. I actually know a family that still is not doing shepherding, but they're still living with the cattle up on the mountain farms in the summer. And while they're there, like they are making cheese and butter and such in a traditional way.
Yeah.
So but that's sort of part of like a cultural histories tourism as well.
Yeah.
But there is actually a fair amount of people, and just outside of Oslo, there is like a Budeie society or social group where they study all of those old shepherding and or herding techniques and all of the different crafts that they would do up in the mountains.
Yeah, we have a farm like that where I come from, and they have a lot of students. And my former boss, of course, in the Directorate of Cultural Heritage, they and our friends that went to university together, they spent the summers, like 2 months on a farm being Budeia, just minding the animals and doing knitting and old crafts and milking and whatnot the old-fashioned way. But sounds like a brilliant way to spend your summers.
I can think of a lot of worse ways.
Yeah.
So why don't you?
Because I like fire too much. And he thinks things with a hammer. Haven't we established that already?
Oh yeah, that's true. So yeah, that doesn't really work well with the animals, perhaps.
Honestly, they'll get used to it. There's a guy, Lucky Nail Blacksmith in New England somewhere in the US, who has a pet donkey in the forge, or did have a pet donkey in the forge. Sometimes he got a bit too close, and you could smell some burned here. But usually he found the glowing steel to be really interesting.
Yeah, didn't I see that the donkey is sadly no longer with us?
Shrek's donkey? Yeah. A moment of silence.
A moment of confusion, I would say. But did Donkey die?
Yeah. So the real donkey that the animators based Donkey in Shrek on.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, who was the voice actor? That was Eddie Murphy. No, he didn't die, as far as I know. But the Norwegian voice actor. But yeah, all right. But now the donkey.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, just a couple of years ago, I think.
Well, it was a long time since the movie came out, so.
And average age of donkeys are easily like 30 years.
Yeah, but I guess it was a middle-aged donkey at the time.
Yeah, I don't. There's been a couple of podcasts I listened to around the story.
All right. Let's do a fun. All right, if it was a middle-aged donkey and they get to be 30 years, that means that it was 15 years and then it died. Let's say it died today then. So then Shrek should have come out 15 years ago. So is that what you think? Shrek came out 15 years ago. We're in a half pint. Let's. I will Google and you will guess. What year did the first Shrek movie come out?
2001 or 2002, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Never seen any of them. Couldn't possibly tell you. 1998.
I mean, you were actually spot on with 2001.
Hey,
but,
look at that.
But that is 25 years ago. It's like, I feel like it came out a few years ago. I remember it coming out. And like, 25 years. It's insane. I'm just amazed. You remember? You were hardly born, was you, Rasmus? You and Stian. I mean, you were. Yeah, even the donkey was older than you. So.
Yeah, probably.
So we're glad that you're not a donkey, because then you would be dead. too.
Yes.
That's a very, very interesting placiditude. Be glad you're not a donkey,
Yeah.
because you'd be dead otherwise.
Okay. Like,
Also,
but it's a nice way to double back from the half pint to the main episode. Speaking about weights, because I went with my wife before we had kids. We went to Peru and hiked the mountains, and then they used donkeys for heavy stuff, but they used llamas for the lighter stuff, because llamas can
Okay.
carry, I think it was 27 kilos was the max limit a llama can carry before it just sits down and can't be bothered. And it was very specific, like up to that they will happily carry it for you, but if you just 1 kilo more, like, no, fuck this, and they just sit down and they don't want to. So of course, for the smaller, quicker trips, you could do a llama, but if you need to carry a lot of stuff, heavy stuff, then you need a donkey. So yeah,
I
Erasmus,
think
if you need to get the heavier anvils, you need a donkey.
I think donkeys can more or less comfortably carry like 50% of their body weight, and in extreme instances, like 120% of their own body weight,
Yeah.
which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
But based upon what you're saying, basically llamas are just posh camels.
Yeah, but that's interesting though. If you take the
No, there's a good reason for why I'm saying this, because they're the same species that diverged.
oh yeah. So the one ran into the mountains and just was small. The bigger one just needed to grow the humps to keep the water and the
No,
size.
so to mess you up a bit more, both of them used to live in the Arctic.
Oh, that makes sense with the fur and everything. So
But also camels, like you need the same adaptations that make you good for surviving in the desert are the same for surviving in the Arctic.
yeah, I mean the temperature is just a number, but other than that, it's just an arid place with no water. Or so yeah.
And walking on snow, walking on sand, kind
Yeah,
of the
those
same.
feet are probably good suited for snow. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to sweat either way. You freeze to death if you do, or you die of dehydration.
Yeah. Yeah,
That is also the zoology segment of the podcast.
We're not used to having that, other than complaining about cats. So
I listen to too many podcasts. I have too many fun facts. This is my
curse.
Sure, let's put it that way.
I was gonna say then we could make a too many fun facts podcast, but that already exists. It's the people behind the QI TV show. They have
Yeah.
the fish podcast. That is.
I think there's room for at least one more fun fact podcast, though.
There is a lot of fun facts, isn't it? So, yeah.
Rasmus needs to find someone to have it with, because I don't think he wants to do it by himself.
Well, that I don't know if you remember, but the beginning of every single 2/3 focused episode started with me telling a fun fact, because
and the ones
I had too many of them.
And the ones where you didn't record, you did a longer fun fact or a story.
Yes,
but that's kind of dissolved. So that's why I guess that you didn't want to do it by yourself. You need someone someone else to come up with some weird facts as well.
Something like that. Yeah.
So if anyone wants to do a weird facts podcast with Rasmus, just hit him up. I'm sure he'll be in for it.
So on that note, then we can end this half pint and welcome you to next week's episode of Make Crude Anecdotes or Fun Facts. Give us a week.
I feel like I'm being shanghaied or something now.
Yeah, we set the expectations in this podcast. Oh no,
we do.
We fail to deliver.
Don't worry,
that's how we
quite low.
Yes, but thanks for coming on, Rasmus. It was nice having you.
No, thank you for having me on. I think you both. I think at least Haavard and KJ knew me well enough to know what you were in for, and I appreciate still doing it.
That's why we invited you. That's
Yeah.
There's no coincidences. It's just happy
Yeah, Haavard was a
accidents.
bit poorly, so we needed someone else who could talk a lot.
Yeah, in case I died.
Happy to oblige or something.
Token Norwegian.
Yeah. There we go. But I think you talked about it on the podcast a while back, but who of you are actually going to Maker Central this year?
Me.
Any of you? Yeah. Because Phil, we haven't met, like in person. No.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Phil doesn't meet people.
No. I think
That's
it's
fair.
best that
I
way.
understand that.
No, KJ here is internationally jetting all the way into Birmingham. Birmingham is 90 minutes up the road from me, and yeah, I'm not going.
Honestly, I also wouldn't meet me. Having lived with myself for 30-something years, I understand.
Wow.
I mean, I talk to myself on a daily basis, and yeah, meeting myself again, it's like there's no, we would have nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, did you? Yes. Okay, I know, but have you heard? Yes, I have. Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
That is well and good, but imagine yourself, you cloning yourself from this point now, and you're split off into two different ones, and you go away for a week and come back. Would that be an enjoyable conversation? What did you do? What did you do? Or would you be fed up with yourself?
It would be a nice experiment to see how much the butterfly effect will actually turn out. So if I clone myself, and all right, we both are now gonna set down to doing this venture. I'm gonna do it here, and of course you have to, so we don't kill each other. You have to move to the next city or something, and you do your thing there, and then you meet up and you see how much the people and your surrounding actually dictates what you end up with. It's like being your own twin, kind of.
There is a recommendation I can give you guys based upon this concept. Do you know Bobiverse, the books?
Yes.
So that's kind of basically that, where you have a human
Yes,
being
it is,
who
yeah.
becomes a sentient spaceship sent out into the cosmos, and then he has a lot of stuff to do. So he starts cloning himself and copying himself. And then you start having drift both by personality and experiences after a while.
I've only read the first 3. I think there's more. But they were
5,
great.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be.
I really enjoyed them. Especially the first couple were really good. And also the last one now was really fascinating.
Just scribbling that down. Bobiverse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you can do a lot worse when it comes to books than that.
Lot of funny pop culture references and brilliant bit of humor.
Yeah,
And a lot of weird situations, because when you're talking to yourself, shit can get weird.
And a really good description of how digitized brain, what stuff you can do with overclocking yourself or lowering the frame rate and that sort of thing. And
yeah, exactly that.
So it's good. Ending on a book suggestion that feels appropriate.
Doing the whole gamut of, I think everyone is winning the bingo cards today.
Exactly.
Let's just say that the imaginary bingo cards are all full, and now we need to go to bed.
Yes.
At least some of us.
You should be in bed, Homer.
I should, but I have been sleeping for 2 days, so I just woke up for this. So I'm gonna spend a few hours video editing and until I'm tired, because I got sick leave until Friday. I am on antibiotics, and the pain in my ear is gone away, but I'm almost deaf on that ear because of the sinus infection and so on. But it's not pushing on my eardrums anymore. So
that's a nice improvement.
It is. But I have a question for you. It's a personal question, but I'm gonna see if I can
Oh dear.
Should I turn off the recording?
No. It's actually blacksmithing related, but you can't paste pictures into the chat. But I can do it on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Because I made a butter knife that is a wooden version of a knife like this. It's an old crescent wrench that you turn into a knife. And then of course I wanted to make that same knife but also into metal. But of course it's easy. The handle is already made, and you can go to any hardware store and pay £2 and you have a crescent wrench. So you just cut the mechanical head of it, and then you need someone with a big industrial hammer and some way to, because I could shape the blade, but I need the tools to heat it up and then squish it flat at the end. And you might know someone who has those tools, maybe.
No, never heard of
No,
it.
okay. All right, I'll keep looking at that.
It can't be done. That's
No,
that's AI.
Yep.
Yeah. It's AI. It's all AI.
Because I remember last time I was in your forge, we had a chat about it. You wanted an induction heater.
Mm-hmm.
And I also found one that you got various versions of it, but there's you have the small handheld one to make it easier to get bolts off, and then you have the bigger one to just heat up if you want to bend some pipes or whatnot. And I thought, I like to put things on fire, so of course I could get one of the smaller ones. I have it in my workshop, so then I could put the crescent wrench in it, and I could always make it glowing red. But hammering manually, that sounds laborious.
Also, in my world, when it's only red, it's still cold.
Yes. You want it almost white before you start bashing on it.
Nah, like a good yellow.
Yeah, all right.
High orange, low yellow. That's enough.
Yeah,
Just because it hurts you, it doesn't mean it's hot.
Exactly.
Is that the rule of thumb?
Yes.
Yeah. So the question is, of course, I need to get something to heat it up so it's hot enough, and then you need to bang it until it's flat enough so that you can shape it, and then it's all the quenching and shaping and heating and all of that. And then could I then, because I always wanted a hydraulic press, but I'm guessing that is not good enough for that. And then I saw your hammer. I've never seen it in use, but then it got me thinking.
You haven't been stalking enough.
No. And then, of course, how... I mean, if I were to make them, I was thinking, I have the design for the wooden one, and I have all the boxes and all the labels. So it would be nice to make a small batch of like 8 or 10, because it turns out it was great gifts for Christmas to give away. So then,
I mean, if you already cut them up, then it's just a couple of minutes in my workshop to actually forge them out into something vaguely knife-like. And then you can finish them up with grinding and heat them up a bit to get a black finish.
yeah, because that's the thing. They are butter knives, so they're never going to be sharp anyway. But so it's, shaping them with the grinder and so on. But so that was basically my question is, and you answered it. How quickly could you hammer the edges of them flat with a big pneumatic hammer?
Yeah, we're talking minutes.
Yeah.
Depending on how crude you want it or how nicely shaped you want it, more minutes.
I was going to say I want it crude but efficient. But all right, we'll have then
Everything
we
should be.
can we can have a chat when I pick up the chairs, and then at some point we might find a slot that works for you, and we can discuss price for
no
rental
worries.
time. Yeah, nice. Of course, the sad thing is that where I found this picture, of course, you can get them pre-made for nothing from China, but that's no fun.
That's no fun.
No, but heating up metal and banging it with a hammer, we established that is
fun.
That is what you want.